Hello, everyone. My name is San Juana Delgado, and today I'll be talking about politeness theory. So, according to Guerrero, Anderson, and Afifi 2018, politeness theory focuses on the specific ways that people manage and save face using communication. So, it's a pretty easy definition to follow. The next one that I want to get into is face threatening acts. And this is basically behaviors that threaten one's face that, we desire to put out. This could either be positive or negative. The way that I think of it, it's like an outside factor that comes in and causes like this disruption, like it's disrupting the type of image you're trying to put out there. So the two faces are positive and negative face. Positive is where you are trying to show a simulation, you're trying to feel accepted by society, by a group of people, whereas negative face, you're more free. You're more yourself, you're more laid back there with no restrictions whatsoever. So the article that I chose was a dissertation by David Bryan Strometz, and it's Politeness Theory Beyond Please and Thank You. And it was published by Temple University in 1992. And I thought the way he went to talk about politeness theory was a great way. And he described it in an easy way that I can, share with you guys. So let's get right into the study. So the study consisted of 60 undergraduate students, 19 males, 41 females, and they were all fairly young. They were around, 21 and 22, but the median age range was 21 years old. So what the method consisted of was students had to ask either their classmates or their professor for the notes that they missed that day, that class period, basically. And these students had to ask either other students that they had never, ever spoken with or students that they have spoken with in the past. And this also applied to the professor. They either had to ask the professor for notes, even if they had never had previous contact with him, like any, conversation. And there were also students that had to ask the professor for their notes and they had previous conversation. So the findings that David Strometz found were that people who showed, or that students who had never spoken to their professor and asked this one time for the notes, they were more polite. What did they show? They showed more positive face because they were trying to gain the notes. They needed the notes for the class period that they had missed. And whenever it got to students that had to ask the professor for notes that they had spoken with before in the past, they were less polite. They were more laid back in the manner and in the way they had asked for the notes. Maybe like, hey, professor, like, can I see the notes? I wasn't here the other day. That's how they would ask. This was the same, these were the same results with students that they had never spoken with before. What did they show? They showed more positive face, more politeness. They probably introduced themselves, told them why they were, absent or something. Where students that had spoken before, they were more laid back in the way they were asking. So what did they serve? They served negative face. So how FTA applied here was that, if these people like that had spoken before, what were they serving? They were serving negative face. The FTA was that people had to be more polite. They had to serve positive face rather than negative face with people they had never spoken with. That was a disruption to their face that they serve. So I thought, this study was pretty interesting. It was pretty simple to follow. And my experience with politeness theory was, it was sort of the same, I guess, concept around this study. I serve more negative face to my mom. Why? Because I'm more comfortable with her. I can come to her and, talk about basically anything. Whereas with my dad, it's more formal. I serve more positive face. I try to gain more acceptance from my dad. Why? Because we're not that close. And he does show, he is, my higher up, I guess. And I do show, more politeness with my dad. I'm I guess I just show more, it's more like a, how do you say it? Like we're just not as close as with my mom. I would be more laid back in the way I talk to her. Like, hey mom, what are you doing? Or did you do this? Like sometimes I talk to her like as a friend, where compared to my dad, I would never talk to him like that. We just don't have that, communication. So I serve different phrases with them. But I hope through this presentation you were able to understand politeness a little bit more. Yeah, I hope you were, able to understand politeness a little bit more. Maybe you will see politeness theory in your life, and you'll be able to spot it out like, oh, hey, like I'm serving this type of face, or, something like that. But these are my citations. Thank you so much, guys.